All right. Welcome to the Foundational Infrastructure Working Group meeting for the 21st of November. 5 whole attendees, most in about a month. Uh, Take a look at PRs first. And boy, do we have PRs. Well, look, me. Um, we talked about this last week, removing Postgres 10 from Bosh. We do need to, when we release this, make a note that like you can't upgrade from earlier than X. X is like 2 years ago, so you know, people do upgrade longer than that. They'll have to do multiple upgrade steps, but it's not earth-shattering, and I'm pretty sure we already have guards in all of the current packages, such that if you are coming from a version older than what we expect, it will throw an error on pre-start. Which let me just double check. Postgres. Obsolete. Yeah, so this is, it's just that stuff. Yes. Oh, look. Uh, Pretty sure that's wrong now. Uh,
No, I did.
yeah, we released 110 already.
Oh,
I know a couple people have been working real hard on getting Bosh to release. There was a number of problems. Um, oh, this might be one of them. No, that's different. There were some JSON problems in Bosh. I believe so. They fixed, so there was JSON and some other JSON, and they were conflicting, and they got updated. And there is a slight change which impacts everybody, which is that um, pretty JSON of an empty Ruby array used to have a new line in it, and now it does not. In fact, it had 2 new lines just for fun, which doesn't seem like a major change, except that we, for some reason, use pretty generate as part of calculating the configuration hash for a VM. So that means that all VMs are basically going to get rolled if they had any empty arrays in them. The test failed because links, if you don't have any links, that's an empty array, and it was causing the SHA to be different between the configuration hashes. So you might get all VMs rolling with this next one. Um, Heads up, I guess. That'll probably make it into the release notes too. But that seemed preferable to patching JSON. And speaking of JSON, seems like we got enough buy-in on this one. Internally at SAP, this was originally added because of performance problems in Azure, and now less of a concern and more of a desire to make it work in Nix environments for some reason, which I still don't comprehend why this doesn't work in Nix, but I don't need to know.
Maybe it's not related to Nix, but to the compiler versions, we thought, that are
That
being
could be.
used. Yeah, because we found there were also these monkey patches for older GCC versions, and we thought maybe it comes up for new ones. Yeah,
If there is a
Could be that.
desire to keep this at some point in the future, we
Could be that we
could.
run
What's
into
that?
that noble then, right? Like if we end up with a newer version of GCC there.
Yeah.
yeah.
This
Anyways, sorry.
this file used to have this something in here.
Yeah,
There was like some if blocks in here. It's like if this, then use faster JSON. Yeah, it was like
yes, there was a lot of yeah.
some fun stuff. And then we were like, no, just always use it. And now we're like, well, now just never use it. But we could, if there are performance problems again, we could bring something like this
Mm,
back.
yeah, yeah. we guess we won't run into these issues again, but we'll keep it in mind. And I also think this fast JSON parser, it was not updated for a pretty long time. It's a known issue there. So yeah, probably also in that regard, maybe good to roll it back.
Is there any alternative then?
Sorry, for us, alternative or?
I don't know. Isn't there, if it's already not maintained for 2 years, then probably.
There's like 8 JSON parsers in Ruby, isn't there? You got like Yagil and like, I don't know. There's like, there's a reason there's a multi-JSON gem, which is like, I'll just use any of these if you bring them. So there's one unified interface. So I'm guessing there are other options, and probably a number of them use libJSON, but they might have similar compiler requirements. I don't know, but they're probably more updated, so maybe they work.
Yeah,
At least
that
one
could
of
be
them
an
must be
option.
updated. Somewhere there has to be an up-to-date one.
True.
But if we don't really have performance considerations, like just using the JSON gem, I mean, in 99% of use cases, you're not parsing a lot of like the vast majority of your time in the CPI should be spent with the IaaS doing something, not parsing JSON. That should be a rounding error, but we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
Computers are faster now. Back to waiting on changes. I think this got approved. This was the PAM package stuff.
People say yes, so I'm fine with it. Can merge it.
And
That's now unblocked.
unblocked. How come Aaron's the only reviewer?
Is it
I think he
unblocked
did
now?
it. I think there were no reviewers assigned, and he just looked at it and left a comment.
Is he trustworthy? Should we merge it for the most
Sure.
part?
Yeah, because this is just like using that library in some places,
Yeah,
and like most of it was in the Bosh utils
yeah.
change.
I would kind of be surprised. Wait, does this have merge conflicts?
No, because I rebased it just now.
Ah, okay. I'm kind of surprised that. Why did this get auto bumped?
What?
Isn't this used? This is pulling in Bosh utils, or no?
I thought so. Yeah. No, I no. I like I.
Ah.
Oh yeah, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
so
saw a
that
bunch of the auto bumping failing because the signature changed. So
yeah, so like I'm changing bumping Bosh utils in this now as well, so that should make it green again.
yeah.
But it was the agent that I saw that was failing.
Everything that used Bosh utils was failing that
Yeah,
used any
okay,
zipping
yeah,
because of the signature mismatch.
yeah.
We bumped a couple of them. It was just
Yeah,
manual
like,
bump.
but it felt like I could keep the signature the same, but like wouldn't be using the runner, so
No, yeah, it seems fine, and like that's when bump depth should go red when we have to make a
yeah.
change, and it was not. It was took minutes of our time.
Yeah,
We'll never get those back, Ruben.
yeah, I know. No, actually you would, right? Because this will make everything a lot faster, so you will soon like
Get
get
those
your
minutes
time
back.
back. Just make
Yeah,
really big Bosh releases. That will be
it's
much
like
faster.
on Monday I saw, oh, Bosh IO web is failing. Let's look at that. And I was like, I can't generate this freaking issue locally. And then it was when I pulled in Bosh utils, everything broke, and I was like, oh, okay. Now I know why it is failing.
Oh boy. So this is squashing all the migrations prior to 2021, which it in fact leaves us with like 4 migrations. We've done like 4 migrations in the last like 5 years. Um, we should go back to the conversation, not look anything at the PR. Um,
I think we can
so the
accept this, right? Because last week it was also like, yeah, it's
What's that?
Well, we already don't have Postgres 10 anymore, and everything. Yeah, I don't understand. I think we can just accept it. I don't know.
Just merge it in.
Yeah, it's like 255 files of migration stuff from 12 years ago, and then like nobody's ever going to use that.
Well, yes. I mean, the only people that are going to break are people running a Bosh director older than this, and then they try to jump grade, and that will not go well for them.
Yeah, but those
But
people shouldn't
that's
exist.
you're not wrong. Yes, I do kind of agree that reviewing
It's
this
already
isn't going to
open
provide a lot of value.
It's already open now for 3 weeks, and
There's just a bunch of files removed, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And like manually reviewing is not gonna catch anything. Like the CI should catch things, right?
Yeah. All right. But yes, the reasoning behind it was SQL not compatible with some of the older migrations, and rather than rewriting all of those files to be compatible, just rolling them up into one new migration that's just like, here's the schema before 2021, which SQL still does not make good, by the way. If anybody
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
is
talked about it
curious,
last week, right?
did we? Yeah, it's
He showed like that there's a big if case or something.
yeah. All right. I can't remember that long ago. All right.
Don't you watch back the recordings like just before the meeting?
I put them on just before bed every night, but I fall asleep before this part.
Unfortunately, there are no recordings.
Yeah, they haven't been updated in a while, I feel like.
Yeah.
This one's
Also,
unblocked.
also, yeah, same. But this is the agent. But I don't know why the linter is failing.
Failing on Windows.
Yeah, this is just that using that library in other places as well. I don't know if the linter ever worked here. I don't know.
Right. When was the last time we had a PR? Last week.
That seems
Did it
green.
run any checks? No. Or they get deleted? Oh, there they are. This doesn't seem like linted last week. Or did it? Shouldn't these be green? What is GitHub Actions? Just gray check marks everywhere? This That's helpful.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
you can
to
click that
expand
triangle.
Oh, I see. Does it need a tidy? And a
Yeah.
vendor?
Tidy and mod vendor. But then the Ubuntu one should also fail.
I wonder if there is inclusions for different platforms and they don't get vendored if depending upon your goose when you vendor. I've never seen that before, but what do
But
I do?
I'm not bringing in any new dependencies, right? They are already there. Oh, I
It
am.
seems like there's new dependencies.
Huh?
It also
No, but
seems like the vendor directory is not updated, which is kind of suspicious.
that is suspicious. Okay, let me check.
We'll let Ruben look at that.
I will
He
see.
might have it first in a couple minutes.
I have the impression that we need now also performance tests about all this. But to keep the level we improved, not.
New PRs. This one's from Felix. What do we got here?
Yeah, Ramon asked me to test Noble Stem Cell, and we found one issue in this harden SSHD job.
Hmm.
Yeah, just
So
Oh,
it tries
fixed.
to restart the SSH daemon service, and since Jammy, that SSHD.service is renamed to SSH.service to start the SSH daemon. SSH daemon dot service SSD.service is now removed in Noble, and it was deprecated in Jammy. So we can basically use restart SSH for Jammy and for Noble now. The only
all
thing is it
supported
will
stem
not work
cells.
for Bionic, because in Bionic it still is SSHD.
If you're still using Bionic, you can use an old version of OSCOM.
Yes, or you can just upgrade. We don't support that's why I already said, like, we don't support Bionic anymore. It's done.
Looks good. Enhance GitHub workflows. Add Dependabot, building CI island. Workflows, presumably related to the OpenStack stuff, doing more of the testing there rather than on our very not accessible CI.
Yeah. Just merge.
This is the just merge day. This does seem very
Do you want to
very
check all the GitHub workflows if they actually work, or if there's a mistake being made?
the best way to check them, have GitHub run them.
Yeah.
This is what happen if you've been away for half an year. Just relax.
Just relax. It's just more like, oh.
I think Ramon trusts people now more. Like he just
Yeah, I have
he's
more
more
trust in
trustful.
people.
Here's an interesting one though.
Oh.
Garden run C.
So for
Disable?
Bosh White,
Up for Noble.
so they want to disable for Bosh White based Wharton, I think. The system
Yeah. Wait. To be container demode. And this says disable container demode.
Yes, container demote is the default one now, and
Yeah. Oh, but that causes some problems with Bosh Lite.
yeah.
Oh, because of BPM.
Mhm.
Generally harmless. Due to my trolling through Garden, I know that it uses run C no matter what for certain things, and just container D for some things if you have this on. Either way you get containers, but seems worth a try, and I've never noticed a difference between the two. Oh, it's me. I ripped out a bunch of, since there was a PR to archive the software thing, I was like, wait, shouldn't we just like not talk about that anymore? So there's a bunch of docs around software. And then while I was in there, I was like, vCloud, we should not mention vCloud. That has not been an IaaS for many years now. Or if it is an IaaS, it might still exist, but it definitely has a different name. And I do not know if they support our current vSphere stem cells like it used to.
Wait till you talk to Stevenson. He wants to bring it back.
Should we remove also these things from, because there are still switches in the stem cell repo for this, like soft layer, like doing when I was testing the EFI stuff, I saw that there was soft layer to partition creation, like
Probably. I feel like a lot of stuff got removed for Noble, but maybe not this stuff.
no, specific soft layer and vCloud switches are still there.
Yeah, and all the test flags.
Yes, testing flags, things. So that they are still there. So if we,
I mean, we're definitely not building those stem cells, and we haven't for a couple. I don't think we built any jammy ones, did we? Did we build software on jammy?
no, we haven't even done it for Bionic. It's vCloud is there.
vCloud's just a copy paste of vSphere mostly, but yeah. We didn't do we got rid of vCloud for vSphere, yes, or for Noble. Yeah, I think PR to remove those switches seems fine.
Okay.
Man, Felix coming in with all the PRs. Optional isolated environment. Ah,
Yeah, there was already a draft PR, and I think Joseph, you already commented on that one, but unfortunately, the guy is out of office, so we decided to open a new PR, basically with the same content, and then I added some tests and
all right.
resolved some conflicts. Yeah.
Use isolated environment.
Yeah, it's basically about the create env command. So it enables the isolated environment, and on our Nix environment, it then fails to find some binaries because the path is like specific to Ubuntu, I think, what I mentioned.
Interesting.
I think the problem was that certain libraries it doesn't pick it up in these isolated from the Nix environment.
Exactly, yeah.
And you can solve it two ways. You can solve it with the image within the image itself and the configuration of the image itself, or fix it in the Bosh package.
Can anybody explain to me what this flag means? Like, I don't understand what an isolated environment
Is it
is.
unsetting a bunch of environment variables like load?
Oh, that's what it means for an environment.
Yeah, like the load
Yeah.
path and those things, right?
Okay. I thought we were like, where you're running it, like isolated, like this is like internet lists or something. I was very confused.
It should have a different name.
It was 10 years ago. And it makes sense in that context. In that context, if that was the goal I was trying to accomplish, it'd be like, yeah, isolate the env. That makes sense. But coming from the outside,
Yeah, but like isolated means that it's ignoring environment variables that you set to override like loader paths, but that means that the make and stuff will like default to default locations.
right.
Exactly.
And that's why it's finding stuff on Ubuntu, but it isn't on Nix because those environment variables are being ignored.
It must not isolate the full environment though, because it definitely uses like Bosh all proxy, right?
No, this is for when you're compiling a binary with Bosh
Oh,
right? So
I
you're
see. Not for
compiling a
when.
package, and then say you're compiling your Ruby, right? It needs to find your GCC and those types of things.
Mhm.
But on Nix, these are in non-standard paths, but they are like being injected via environment variables. But if you're keeping those out,
Got it.
won't work. But basically, you need to compile a CPI, you need to bring your own GCC. That would be the proper solution. Like make it fully self-contained.
Right. We should just, yeah, have a GCC shared package.
Yeah. And then we compile GCC with itself.
How
Uh,
long it takes to compile GCC, right?
so PR to change, I think, the integration tests to basically use releases in blobs rather than buckets for a bunch of stuff. I don't want to look at anything in there. I know that we're trying to delete a bunch of older AWS accounts owned by Broadcom, and a bunch of these had just like, you know, here's some dev versions of the config server or the Bosh CLI. And then the integration tests are like, let me go pull those dev versions from these buckets. And this PR, I think, mostly changes that to be like, let's just check out the CLI or the config server and like Bosh create release or do like build it or something, um, so that we can eliminate the dependency on these external buckets for the most part. and then delete those AWS accounts because somebody told us we have too many. We only have like 60. It's fine.
Is this also for the AWS? Is this also then migrating stuff to the foundation AWS account or?
We've been putting a lot of the buckets we've been moving over to the GCS account or GCP account, the GCS buckets, on the foundation account. But then there's things where it's just like these dev artifacts that are used by some integration that it's like these, a lot of this workflow made a lot of sense when everything was changing at once. Like if you go look at like the agent and the director, they both pull in like pre-releases of each other to run the like Bosh integration test. It's like, let's slow down, people. So like when Bosh was broken the other day because of like some gem thing, like the agent pipeline started failing because they're pulling from like master of the Bosh director, not like a released version of the Bosh director, because they were changing everything at once at one point in time and needed everything to test against pre-releases of everything. So it doesn't feel like we live in that world where everything's changing at once anymore.
Okay.
All right. Fewer PRs. Agenda. Just want to give an update on Bosh Lite. Thanks to Maria's help, I did figure out where Garden Init comes from and was able to I successfully deployed Noble containers with Bosh Lite yesterday. It is in an awkward spot because you have to basically change Bosh Garden unsee release. Well, how is this not in my history? Oh, it didn't have Bosh in it. That makes sense. Sort of basically the entry points. Garden has an INI file, which is why it was very hard to find this. Don't know why this is the format. It's got this init bin, which is var vcap data garden bin hard coded, even though it's in ERB for some reason. Init, so you have to change this to sbin or user slash or sbin/init. And then basically it starts systemd in the container then as pid1, and everything just sort of works at that point. In fact, many things didn't work because the stem cell was doing too much. We got to rip a bunch of stuff out of the garden stages of the stem cell builder that were like, oh, don't do this and don't do that. So now everything's basically nearly the same as a normal stem cell, which does mean it is slower. Like I spun up like 5 containers at once, and it took like a minute and a half to spin up the VMs when it was doing create VM, because like systemd is like, I got to generate some SSH keys, and doing that 5 at a time apparently is kind of slow.
Okay. Yeah, that's entropy. Wouldn't it make sense? But do we need SSH keys? Isn't Bosh doing that itself as well?
That's part of the first boot, I think.
So
The first boot.sh.
Oh, it makes a host key.
Yeah.
But that should be only one key, right?
Well, one
Yeah,
key
but
per
if you're
VM, yeah.
yeah, 5 at the same time. But it's 5 different VMs. They shouldn't share entropy.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, actually, it's containers inside a shared VM, right? So that means they share the entropy source.
Yeah. So you're running more stuff. None of the stuff seems super big. There's some startup time cost, but like, systemd resolves running in all these containers now.
Did you look at excluding some of the systemd services? Like
I thought of nothing. I mostly wanted to get it working.
Okay.
But yeah, so there is the option to turn a bunch of stuff off.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I posted those the stuff
You posted
that I
a
did
giant RMRF.
yeah, that I found on the internet, but it did make Ops Manager start really fast. Like Opsman starts in Docker starts in a few seconds. So I think that's related.
Yeah. So the bigger problem right now to move forward though is not the speed so much as right now in my dev version of the Warden release, I have a pre-start script that sets this to what I want it to be, which is maybe fine. However, that doesn't work for Jammy. So the question is, do we want a Warden CPI that works for both Jammy and Noble at the same time? If so, we need to make changes to Garden Run C basically to make this configurable at runtime. So right now it's not even configurable at deploy time, much less runtime. I don't know how common that is as a use case of like, I'm running a Bosh Lite and I got some Jammy and some Noble or some Xenial or whatever going on. Seems like you mostly don't run a bunch of stuff in your Bosh Lite.
I wouldn't.
At the
We
one
shouldn't
hand,
support mixed.
could be nice to support mixed, but on the other hand, it's also maybe a good idea that people are aware of that it's now running from systemd. I don't know if
Right. And this would basically be a flag in the Warden CPI of like, hey, use systemd. And then it's like, that's what you need to enable for Noble and Future. Alternatively, we could go change the Jamie branch of Warden Stem Cell Builder to turn on systemd and basically make it the same as the new potential Noble stuff. And then, older versions of the stem cell are going to work with newer versions of CPI, but you could have mixed mode that way. So it's divided mode or mixed mode by patching Garden in some way, or mixed mode by updating Jammy to use systemd also.
But you would use Jammy then for everything or only for the Warden for Bosh Lite?
Just change. Well, right now the Warden, the Bosh Linux stem cell builder for you would basically start the container with systemd in Jammy, and then systemd would start run it or whatever normally happens to get the Bosh agent running would happen in the Jammy world.
Systemd is already on Jammy. It's already on. We just only
not in Warden.
Not on Warden. No, I know, but I mean, like,
so that would be the change. Is we go back to the Warden Jammy and we'd say, oh, use systemd instead. Not to start the agent, but to start the container, and then that'll start the agent or whatnot. We remove all the manual steps we have in the builder.
Yeah. Okay. So we're not going to backport the that the agent starts and in systemd and that kind of stuff.
No, not that. Just how the container starts up. Okay. We could bring that back to Jammy if we wanted to support mixed mode. Maybe the first step is just don't support mixed mode, and then if people really want it, we can talk about either patching Garden or backporting the container changes to Jammy Warden.
I think for Bosh Lite and Jammy changes, I don't think there's much of an issue because Warden should also always be like a dev environment. So
right. I'm not too concerned about breaking people here.
Yeah, no, but so, like Benjamin is running his concourse on a Bosh Lite, I thought, in production.
Maybe. In production? Concourse is not a production thing. Unless you're running a multi-tenant concourse for other people, which you probably shouldn't be doing on a VirtualBox.
Yeah.
So that's the. Oh, go ahead.
For dev environment, most probably I also agree to keep it simple.
Yeah. So yeah, doing the no mixed mode should be pretty simple. It's just a couple. Oh, it does require. Oh no, it doesn't. Because then it's I was trying to do mixed mode last night, and I bumped the stem cell version, stem cell API version from 3 to 4 in the Warden, and then tried using that as a flag for the CPI to do different things. But it wasn't just some of the volume mounts I was doing. It was definitely like you could not do this under Jammy. So yeah. No mixed mode should make everything a little simpler. It doesn't require any changes to the agent stem cell API version, which we've only bumped 3 times ever, but isn't a big deal to bump, but simpler by far to support one mode or the other. All right. Any more on? Ooh, Something added to the agenda. Is this yours, Ruben? Somehow I knew.
Oh, it's green now. It's
That's
just I had to
fantastic.
run
You had to
go,
defend other things. The robots are doing good work. All right.
but it's
We,
like how? Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand how all these things were not vendored because these were not things that I changed.
oh, really?
Which,
That's alarming.
yeah, yeah. But sure, the robots are fun. Happy now.
Do we bump depths, right?
Yeah, but it, for example, didn't like it now wanted to vendor Ginkgo and it wanted to do something metrics related.
Oh, yeah, and it changes vendored stuff when it bumps steps automatically. That's weird. All right. I'm going to approve and merge this because we've already done about 6 of these over the last 2 days fixing pipelines. Make sure I'm still in the right tab, not merging some other random PR.
Yeah, and then the last remaining thing, I haven't created a PR, haven't even started, but like the Bosch director is also doing some tarring, but it's like actually shelling out. I don't know how it's doing. I think it's shelling out to tar as well. So there would, if we want to use the similar library there, we would have to,
You're going to have to write a Ruby gem.
or introduce a Go binary that does it.
All right. Issues. Who's got issues? Everybody's got issues. This is something.
Love that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
387 merged, close.
387.
Yeah.
This is also from the last week. Oh, all right. That is in progress.
Isn't that
Or wait,
is that related to the Garden D?
this
No,
is
we just looked at, yeah,
Yeah,
container.
the
Yeah.
single container one. Okay, yeah.
yeah. A lot of stuff waiting for changes. Somebody should make changes.
Now open for contribution.
Oh, right. Yeah, somebody should make contributions. Snapshot-based disk migration.
Oh, he commented 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes. This looks like a planning document for the contributions
Yeah.
that he was waiting for.
Contribution is incoming.
I have the impression you can generate the code from this comment.
There's so this is something that people, I don't know if this is related. This might not be related, but something else that's happening is we've gotten a bunch of emails that like, hey, Azure unmanaged disks are going away, which is something the CPI used to create. And so like you have till like September of 2025 to move to managed disks. We're not sure what the implications of that is. I know that there is like a bunch of nonsense around like availability sets versus availability zones and which can and can't use managed disks, and migrating from unmanaged to managed requires certain things. So there might be a track of work that we have to tackle in the next 9 months to figure out um, how to get off unmanaged disks in a sane way via presumably some sort of automated process via the CPI, but unknown, but something for everybody to keep in mind. And possibly related to this, or possibly completely unrelated, because I didn't read all this. Maybe this is needed to migrate from, because like definitely the Azure guide is just like, yeah, just snapshot your disk and then make a new managed disk. It's like, okay, slow down. This do we merge the PR? No, we added it for review. Yeah. And then I added a new one, which we haven't done this, right,
Yes, we
Ramon?
did.
So wait,
Introduced the PR390 and 398. One.
this actually makes an EFI partition for Azure?
Yes. Everything makes, even for, we even now do it for Warden. Like,
Does that work? That doesn't seem like that should work.
I don't know. It makes it both, so it's like it's still backward compatible. It builds. I don't
It
know if
builds.
it builds. I don't know if it works, but it
Nobody's
builds.
tried deploying them, but they do build. So you changed it so everything uses the image creation EFI now.
Yes,
There's a fallback.
because there is now a fallback in the grub installer, like the stage, the image install grub underscore EFI was, but it's now the same as image install grub, which will then basically has now a fallback.
All right.
And
I remember looking at this and I remembered my eyes just glazing over as I saw all of
the most important things are basically all the way down, and that is when we do grub install. So here we do grub install. There we basically, the first one is for the EFI, the second one is for the thing we make two devices, basically two partitions.
no floppy.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, I'm just gonna close this.
For now, it seems to work.
Well, for now it builds.
It builds and I can deploy. So and
Also on Azure?
we did an Azure deploy because Felix did.
Okay.
But the problem was the SSA, the hardened SSD, which is now also fixed. So
I guess there is maybe, I guess it's not super important. I guess nobody's needed it, but like there's a question of, are we actually does Azure require us to like request they be launched with EFI, or is it still launching with legacy BIOS, which like
that's
it
what
works, it possibly works either way. I don't know if Azure even has a flag for this. But like if it's not, if nobody needs EFI now, like we're at least there so that we can change the CPI at some point in the future without, breaking a bunch of old stuff, because we've had EFI partitions on there forever.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be cool. And it's only the EFI now is only needed for when what Long introduced, right? For the image, the AI image stuff.
Yeah, mounting.
GPUs.
What?
GPUs with more than 16 gigabytes of RAM, I thought. Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. All right. That was it. We did everything. Anybody have anything else?
I have only one thing I was looking at because I was asked to look at it for the Bosh DNS for the recursor stuff for logging. Do you remember anything from it? That we were looking at it at some point like last year, but it's like
It was tagged logging, right?
Yeah, the tag logging. We've got a story to start using that, but we haven't gotten around to it yet. For internally at Broadcom. What about it?
yeah, there's an issue still. I think
Oh, really?
there is
Lies.
DNS Noble support, and then there is some talk about the recursor logging here.
Oh,
I think the change with Nobo is that the recursors are managed by systemd now and not by
Bosh
Bosh
DNS,
DNS.
yes.
yes. Yeah,
And
because we made it so that systemd resolved gets all the traffic first, not Bosh DNS. So
yeah,
Bosh DNS in theory only gets traffic from systemd resolved for Bosh. Why is there a cred hub in here? I don't know. For certain domains, I think. So yeah, I guess you wouldn't get the recursor logging. You'd have to pull it out of systemd resolved.
Yes, so yeah, the only thing now that what you can do within systemd resolved is basically put it on debug and then grab it with Prometheus systemd exporter and then maybe filter over that. I don't know. I don't
Do
know
some
how the
syslog
working
stuff.
mechanism.
I don't know. Does this end up in syslog?
I don't see it in syslog, but could be.
I would bet. I mean, maybe you need to change the rsyslog config to get this into syslog, or maybe the system resolved config somehow you can tell it to put it in syslog, but
Yeah, okay, we can. Yeah, I can try that. That we just configure our syslog to grab all that stuff from the systemd the Bosh the result.
maybe, yeah. But we don't necessarily want to do, we clearly don't want debugging on and it going to the syslog stream by default, probably, but
No, we probably need to put it in a different different file.
yeah.
But at least if there is a path like that we can do. But okay, so that's the only thing we can. I will look into that further then. But your for Bosh DNS is going to have log tags. What?
We
That
already
was, yeah, which I guess is not super helpful now that Bosh DNS is only getting certain stuff, but you could enable debugging for only certain things, allow different levels for log tags. Yeah, so like you can be like the forward handler should be on debug, but everything else should be info or something. Error. Yeah.
This is so if you have too many DNS requests, you can generate a lot of logs, which is
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
introduced by you guys by SAP, right, Ben?
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Which may
and you want to have this kind of feature also on the systemd side for the system to resolve the.
So I think we need to understand first what kind of logs we have now with the current. What is the situation with the logs, and then we can decide. I think what makes sense.
Okay. Oh, I need to set up a test environment for this then too.
Yeah.
I'm definitely very excited about this new world though, because the
Yeah.
number of requests we get from customers being like, Bosh DNS is bad. It's doing bad things. And it's like, your DNS recursor is bad. It's doing bad things. So let's just getting out of the way entirely and letting, no, it's systemd resolved and it's your DNS. This is your problem.
Yes, we had a lot of complaints in that direction. That's why I introduced this logging so that we can find that this is not Bosch DNS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can blame Bosh DNS now already. Like if you use Noble, it's like nope.
Right.
We had also another feature like retrying on recursors. I don't know whether this is still used. Felix, do you know?
Felix is not.
Not in detail. No, sorry.
So there was an option to configure how many times a recursor should retry.
Yeah. On
Yeah.
the using the and there's also the smart stuff or whatnot.
Yes, but that's the how it should handle the that's being all put now into systemd resolved, right?
So how are these domains injected for like the things that need to be delegated to Bosh DNS?
Wait, say that again.
So how does systemd know what to delegate to Bosh DNS?
We tell it.
So okay, but is that dynamic or is that like how it
Uh,
goes?
no, it's only top level domains
Yeah, but like
because
those
all
can be. How do we
those
know
are
those?
those are like in here somewhere. Uh, no, internal hash of domains.
But what
Here-
about like handlers, right? Because you can use a handler to resolve like there's people that have configured handlers
Those
Or,
people can
like,
go away.
They don't
You can do
exist
that
in
on your
our world.
DNS servers. This is not our job.
Yeah, people were abusing Bosh DNS.
but aliases also use like different things, right? They with the
aliases
internal, and then you
work still because
and what about Diego? Because Diego uses like app-to-app routing. There's a handler plugin thing that's being called.
does that hit Bosh DNS? I don't know if that
Yes.
hits Bosh. What?
Yes.
That'll be found later. That's somebody else's problem.
That will be fun. I'm gonna
Open
tell
for
you,
contribution.
that's the CFD. Once CF deployment starts validating, that's what they're gonna find.
Where was? I don't remember what we did here. I'm going to use the term "we" also a lot here.
Well, you did most of the stuff.
No, I don't remember. I remember nothing about it, so I couldn't have done anything.
So glad we have Git history.
Remove network interface.
Seems like someone has like hijacked your identity as well.
I know.
Making this
Well,
commit.
you can make a commit with anybody's email address on it.
Not if you sign your commits.
I definitely don't. So all my commits are suspect to be from somebody else. Plausible deniability. If don't disable recursors. Where do we set up systemd? Oh, look, here it is. Domain Bosh DNS. We get the domains from somewhere. Update domains. Oh, right. We do this. We do this somewhat dynamically. No, we don't. Just kidding. It's just in main. We do it with whatever we find. Oh, this includes aliases. Right. This includes all the aliases. So we pull that gets pulled at startup. Aliases aren't dynamic anyway. They have to be there when Bosh DNS starts. And so when we start up, we update systemd resolved with that list of aliases. So like, hey, send this stuff to us. So that still works and might actually work for resolvers also. Depends on what's in this magical domains thing, record set domains. This might have everything in it.
We'll see.
It works. It's great. Everybody's gonna love it.
Unless
Or
we know
it's
who to
open for
blame.
contribution.
Okay. Need to go.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Have a
see ya.
good week.
Thank you for moderating. See you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.